So he has the thyroid and urine test back, or just the urine test?
The urine, both.
Okay.
So he did have a UTI. So that is why when he got the antibiotic,
He got better.
Got better. And so she was saying that the doctor was so happy that we got the antibiotics. I almost didn't do that. And then I'd go, no, we got to do it just in case. So that's, like when you're like sick, you've probably never had a UTI. I've had them many times and you just get so sick.
Is it like flu-like?
That's what you feel like.
So
like
he can't
ill.
walk because he was just like weak and sick?
Probably.
For 6 days before we got him the shot?
Remember when he was just sleeping with your dad? And
He had a UTI.
Yeah. And so, okay, first of all, really glad we got the antibiotic, but in 2 more weeks, or it might be a week from today, I'm going to be there anyway. They want to give him one more shot just to...
Make sure it's gone. How does one develop a UTI?
It could be from many different things.
Yeah, I mean, in a dog.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. He's older, though. And my mom had told me that in older individuals, getting a UTI is really intense.
Okay.
You can imagine.
So then the 2 stones in the bladder are
It could be from that.
It's going to dissolve probably?
Yeah, I mean,
we'll double check in a couple of weeks maybe.
That's a good question because I actually forgot to ask about that. But I think sometimes stones can develop from a UTI.
Okay.
So that kind of all makes sense. And then his thyroid results came back and his thyroid is indeed low. So we just have to get him, they have different meds or just one med that you give him. And they said there's no symptoms, no side effects, or no side effects of the medicine.
And then what do you mean the thyroid's low? Did they explain that?
Kind of, sort of. I was just taking all of the information in and yeah, let's look it up. But I remember when I was chatting with the vet, she was stating that him having the thyroid issue would be the best case scenario because if not, then you'd have to go into like Cushing's and that's harder to treat. So with the low thyroid, it's just medicine once in the morning, once at night. And it's funny, a symptom of low thyroid is hyperpigmentation in the skin, which is what he has. Skin stuff. So all of these things that presented itself make sense.
Well, and it's really interesting how we obviously have the technology and the medicine, but it's for some reason with your pet, you are kind of like, it seems like if you go into a doctor's office, we can talk.
Yeah.
So the doctor almost like, it seems like when you give all the symptoms of what you're really feeling and where to feeling, they ask you all the questions and then they're like, it's probably this, let's test for this. Because a dog can't talk, you have to test everything.
Everything.
And then you look at the price and go, I don't want to test for all this. You're trying to self-diagnose it. But if you had the self-pigmentation or whatever it was called, yeah, and you went into, we went into the vet, I'm sure they would have said it could be the thyroid. You have to test for it. We're like, but is it dangerous? And they're like, well, no. So it's all these things, but dogs can't talk. So you have to do a full panel of everything. But I'm glad we did.
He needed that.
So then that's not the problem. So the problem of him on his deathbed, dare I use hyperbole,
was his UTI.
Was a UTI. So this whole time, I kind of feel a little proud because the day we were panicked and on Saturday we were sitting at the coffee table and because I remember Friday night was the worst night with him where we were like, uh-oh. And then Saturday it was just bad. And then I was looking around and I said, there's no way this can be arthritis overnight. And we kept looking at all the symptoms and in our heads, we kind of had a bulletin board with all the yarn attached. Yeah. And I remember sitting going, this is probably an infection.
It made the most sense because we were like, there's no way it could go 0 to 100 like that. There's no way.
But the blood, the things that the first vet was actually, as much as we were like kind of like apprehensive, she was correct.
Yeah.
She's like, we need to do laser. He has arthritis. We need to x-ray to see what's wrong. They would have seen, or maybe she wouldn't have done the bladder. It's irrelevant. But
But Sherry freaking saw it.
She did if this was what she was talking about, or if this is a recurring thing with him because he's older.
Hey.
But now we'll know. If he starts doing that. But yeah, once you put all the symptoms together and we looked at the blood from 3 years ago and the blood here, we noticed that all the levels that were high too. The only difference was glucose. And the doctor said that was stress because he was sick, so the glucose went up. So as we were putting everything together, that's why I'm glad you got the antibiotic. But man, that antibiotic worked fast because that's how he had such a change. It was an infection that we let go for a damn week. That's why I was like, I hope it... There's a part of me that was like, I didn't want it to be an infection because I felt like so bad we waited. But then I was thinking that's the best case scenario because every other option, if it wasn't a UTI or wasn't a bladder infection, which is a UTI.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a urinary tract infection. That's the same
Bladder
thing.
infection, yeah. No, it's just so crazy because when, like, you've seen me before with UTIs, and that very first day, like, before I can get the antibiotic, I'm, like, curled over in bed. Then I get the antibiotic. I'm still curled over in bed, but about 3 hours in, I'm like, okay, I can live again. You feel like the icky, sick feeling
Goes away?
goes away. So that's like exactly what happened with him. So he was so sick with an infection that he didn't have the strength in his little arms. Like, that's what was happening.
That's so sad.
It's devastating.
But he was like going to the bathroom normal because he had a UTI when he was a puppy or something. It was back when 2010.
Really?
I think so. And he came in and like peed in the bathroom, or 2011 or something.
Oh, I remember that. And we knew something was wrong because he looked up at us.
And my dog Pika, my dog I grew up with, I think she had a bladder infection once, and she walked into the bathroom, which she never does because she hated baths, and I think she peed in the bathroom, and that like triggered my parents to go, "That is weird." First of all, she doesn't pee in the house. Second of all, she never voluntarily goes in the bathroom.
Yep.
And I think that was her way of telling her like something's wrong.
Huh.
So, but we knew with Benji.
Immediately.
Man.
I know.
I'm just glad though it was an easy fix.